There have been some news about allergic reactions to the Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines for COVID-19. And as we ramp up vaccination rates in the United States, there are fresh questions about vaccine safety. We are also hearing about new variants of the coronavirus. And there are questions whether these vaccines will be effective against these new coronavirus variants or not. So there's a lot of uncertainty and many questions. Hello everyone, I'm Naveen Agarwal and I want to welcome all of you once again to my weekly video update. Certainly, we are living through very difficult times. There's a lot of uncertainty. These vaccines are new. We don't know much about them and we are learning as we go. So there's a lot of uncertainty. But we are really used to managing uncertainty in our daily lives, right? Life is not certain. There's a lot of ambiguity. We make decisions based on risk every day. But what we need is good information. And that is where the problem is, because whenever we turn the news on, we hear stuff thrown around and it just adds to our level of anxiety and doubt. We don't hear good analysis. We don't hear good recommendations and what questions to ask and how to manage this uncertainty for our family and loved ones. So that's my intent behind these videos, to bring you information from credible sources, including medical and technical literature that I have reviewed and analyzed based on my experience. Now keep in mind that things are happening fast and things are evolving and we are learning every day. So I'm trying to make these videos and keep them updated for you. So I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel, but more importantly, tell me what's on your mind. What kind of questions you are dealing with and not able to find answers. Leave a comment or engage with me on LinkedIn in a dialogue. I'll be very happy to provide as much information as I can based on my current level of understanding. Okay, so in this video, I want to go over some of the data that just came out from the CDC on the rates of allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis, which is serious life-threatening allergic reaction. So this is very good information, very early, but very good information. I will give you a quick summary of that information that just came out. And I'll also give you some quick tips and recommendations, especially if you or your loved ones are in that high-risk group of prior history of allergic reactions, not just to vaccines, but to something else as well. Okay, so this data that I'm going to cover comes out of the weekly morbidity and mortality report from the CDC. It's a very good report, and I'll provide a link to that report as part of this video. So there are two reports that I'm going to cover. The first one is on Pfizer-BioNTech, which, as we remember, was the first vaccine to receive emergency authorization and the first vaccine to actually be administered to people. So that's early data. And then the second report is on the Moderna vaccine that came out next. So for Pfizer, the data is from early to mid-December, about a period of 9 days, limited amount of information. For Moderna, it's late December to early January, a little bit longer, about 19 days. And more information is available on Moderna, but still very, very early on. So let's talk about the Pfizer data first. So this data is from early to mid-December. It covers close to 2 million doses administered to people. And they're reporting about over 4,000 adverse events. And these adverse events could be of low to moderate severity, something like injection site pain, or systemic issues like fever, muscle pain, fatigue, things like that, that have been known and reported as part of the clinical trial data. That about 4,000 or so adverse events were reported in this time frame, and that comes to only about 0.2% of the vaccines administered. More importantly, about 175 cases of allergic reactions, suspect allergic reactions were reported, but only 21 of them were confirmed as anaphylaxis, which comes to about 11 cases per million doses administered. And we call that 11 ppm, 11 parts per million. That's like a standard way of looking at rates or frequency. So about 11 parts per million. Now keep in mind that all of these cases that were confirmed, they had prior history of allergic reactions. And all of these cases were handled immediately and patients were discharged immediately. And there was no follow-up complication or issue. So it was a serious event, but it was handled in time and patients were discharged after they were treated and found to be stable. More importantly, it took up from 2 minutes to 150 minutes, over 2 hours, 2 minutes to over 2 hours for these types of reactions to become visible. So it could take a long period of time. So let's ask the question, how does this compare with the data they presented as part of their phase 3 clinical trial that was used for emergency use authorization? Well, we cannot compare it directly as far as allergic reactions are concerned because those kind of subjects were excluded from the study. However, it was recognized that history of allergy was a risk factor. But in terms of the serious adverse events, they reported about 1.2% as a rate, and life-threatening serious events were at about 0.2% or so. Now let's talk about the Moderna data. As I mentioned, it came from the time period of late December to early January, and it covered about 4 million doses administered to people. So slightly higher number, almost double the number for Pfizer. In those 4 million doses, they received about 1,000 or so, about 1,200 reports of adverse events, similar adverse events. And that comes to 0.03%, so much lower than the rate reported by Pfizer for Pfizer vaccine. And in terms of the suspect allergic reactions, over 100 cases, but only 10 were confirmed cases of anaphylaxis. And that comes out to only 2.5 parts per million, 2.5 cases for every million doses administered. So it's much lower than the rate from Pfizer. And again, just like in case of the Pfizer vaccine, it took up to 50 minutes or 45 minutes as the highest, longest time for the allergic reactions to show itself. And again, just like the cases with Pfizer vaccine, all of these cases had prior history of allergic reactions, and all of them were treated on the spot and discharged, and there were no follow-up complications. And in terms of comparing to the clinical trial data that they presented, there they showed serious adverse events of about 0.6%. So in terms of the rates, we are lower than what they reported in their clinical trial data, but on the same order of magnitude. Keep in mind that this data that CDC is reporting tends to be underreported. Not everybody reports. So it tends to be underreported and it tends to lag. And secondly, the data in clinical trials came from observations as long as 2 months after the first dose was given. So it was longer term data. So hopefully we will have more data come in and be able to compare the rates that are reported in the clinical trials versus what I call real world data. But all indications are that the data that we are seeing so far is at a very low rate. Now you might ask, then is the Pfizer vaccine more risky or less safe than the Moderna vaccine? We really cannot make that judgment as yet. These numbers are still pretty small, and over time, as more data becomes available, we will learn more. Because again, this is real world data, not controlled study, and we don't know what kind of people are represented in the Pfizer vaccine pool versus Moderna pool. So it's all random. It's all real world data. Overall, we cannot conclude as of now if one is better than the other. Both of them seem to be about the same, and rates of adverse events, including anaphylaxis, which is life-threatening, serious allergic reaction, they remain pretty low. Having said that, these are all on an average at a large scale. It is not to say that on an individual basis, the risk may not be high. And that's where I want to give you some recommendations. Make sure that you discuss your history. If you have history of allergic reactions, not just to vaccines, but to anything else, make sure you mark that question yes in the checklist that they give you when you go to get the vaccination. On top of that, make sure you mention it to the nurse. Talk it out and tell them, hey, I have this history. And ask them to monitor you individually. Maybe you stay there a little bit longer. The current protocol is everyone is supposed to be monitored for at least 15 minutes. But maybe you ask for a longer time frame. As I discussed, it could take more than an hour for the allergic reaction to happen. If you have a history, make sure that you alert the nurse verbally. They're very busy. I went to get the vaccine myself and they're very, very busy. So even if you answer that question on the iPad when they give you, make sure you do verbalize it. Tell them. Make sure you ask for individual attention. And there are people over there. It can be very busy, but there are people over there who can really keep an eye on you. Make sure you bring your medication. They will have treatment options, EpiPens available for you, but make sure you bring your own medication. Make sure you bring everything with you and inform them of all your medical information. That's the recommendation I will give. There is no reason not to get this vaccine if you have a history of allergic reaction. You just need to be aware and careful and disclose this information as quickly as possible. To summarize, at this point, it is fair to say that the rates of adverse events and rates of allergic reactions continue to remain low. They are of the same order of magnitude as they reported in their clinical trial data, which was tens of thousands of people. But now we are talking about millions of people. So on one hand, that's great news because we have vaccinated millions of people and still the rates of adverse events are low. That's very good news. But on an individual level, you must maintain vigilance and you must manage your risk individually by being vocal about that and by being prepared. I hope this is useful to you. I hope you find this information useful. If you have questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment as part of this video or follow me on LinkedIn where you can post a comment, ask a question, and engage in a conversation with me. I want to thank you again for your interest and attention. And I hope all of you continue to stay safe in these very difficult times.